So I'm mostly making this video for me. I get stuff wrong all the time, people get mad, say I should die or something. I mean, we could all use less of that. It sort of does make sense because there is so much wrestling trivia doing the rounds, who can keep it all in their brain? And if you can, you should get on the chase immediately. Or Mastermind, yeah, that one. The chase doesn't let you pick your questions. Anyway, the point is, let me, Simon Miller, the Bald A-hole, update some facts for you so that we're on the same page. This would be called the right page. Let's go. Number 10, the first Royal Rumble match wasn't in 1988. I get this is the one that WWE focuses on, especially as it's when the event as we know it started. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was the winner, and a whole TV audience saw it. If you were in a live crowd in 1987, though, you would have seen the real comptroller. Sorry, the real first Royal Rumble, also known as the first one. That didn't work. It was October 4th, though, in St. Louis, and this was all deliberate. The company was experimenting with the idea to see if it would work or not. That's why there's only 12 wrestlers as opposed to 30, and why a ton of the rules we love don't exist. 2 feet on the floor? Don't know what you're talking about. So yes, if you do want to be super nerdy, this is technically the first. And amazingly, Vince McMahon didn't like it. He thought the concept was stupid, and he only changed his mind after Pat Patterson and TV exec friend Dick Ebersol convinced him to try again. The rest is history, and thank goodness he didn't go with his first gut feeling, because it was wrong. Totally wrong. Number 9, the 24/7 rule wasn't always a thing. When people think back to the Attitude Era and the Hardcore title, it has been long established that the 24/7 rule was always part and parcel of it. It's not true. When the belt was revealed in 1998, it was defended like any other championship. It was serious, we had sanctioned matches, and really the spin was just, it's a hardcore title. That had become super popular in the late 90s thanks to ECW, and the WWF just wanted to capitalize on it. Here's where the mad stack comes though. The 24/7 rule wasn't born onto this earth until early 2000. That's right, years later, and it was basically a deliberate accident too. Crash Holly got so wound up, he just said it in a promo. Because it is wrestling, it magically went into force. It does go to show you how much we all loved it though, because those two are synonymous with each other, which actually wasn't the case at all. It's also why WWE tried it again with the literal 24/7 championship. Although the less said about that, the better, but you know the deal. Bless that R-Truth. Number 8, Bret Hart's contract didn't end at the Survivor Series 1997. I mean, it would be oddly convenient, right? Bret Hart's deal just so happens to finish at the big pay-per-view in Canada. The reason that does sound a little bit wishy-washy is because it wasn't true. It's just a fact that's been made up over time because it makes the story better. Of course, if it were accurate, Bret Hart could have turned up on WCW Nitro the next night, and that's where the fun part is. But yeah, Bret had 2 weeks left after this night, so even if he had wanted to go to World Championship Wrestling and do this, he wasn't able to. And it also means that had the WWF done some big sort of a schmoz in Montreal, there was actually plenty of time to get the title off him. I mean, look at it this way. Bret didn't arrive in WCW till mid-December, which was well after the screw job, and WCW didn't wait because lol, there were legalities to obey, and given there was already lawsuits between the two companies, I would imagine they didn't fancy another. So basically, it was impossible that Bret was ever going to walk out with Eric Bischoff carrying the WWF title. You know the deal, let's not have the facts get in the way of a good story. Also, if you truly think someone like Bret Hart would have done this when he wouldn't even rip up his first WCW contract on Raw when Vince McMahon asked him, well, I just kind of think we're shouting into the wind. Number 7, The Shield and CM Punk. When The Shield debuted at the 2012 Survivor Series, they were helping CM Punk keep his WW title as he faced Ryback. Punk at first even leaned into this by saying on TV he was responsible. When you actually go back and watch week to week though, well, he was being a heel or he was lying. Because Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose were soon positioned as a group who were trying to fight the injustices in WWE. At the time, their interests just so happened to align with CM's goals, but they were not his boys. The whole idea was that this was a red herring. You're gonna have to tune in to find out. Behind the scenes, it gets a bit more wacky because originally they were going to be a team for Punk who pushed for Chris Hero over Roman. That didn't happen, and when WWE was ready to hit the go button, they just sent them off in their own direction while using the Shield as a way to protect Ryback and also to keep the belt on Punk. Bit like wrestling mathematics this, but there you go. The good news is, in case you missed it, they went on and did okay for themselves. Basically took over an entire industry. Number 6, Shawn Michaels did lose titles clean. A long-running gag is that Shawn Michaels version 1 literally never lost the championship clean. A lot of this is based on the I lost my smile promo, which soon became, oh, that heartbreak kid, he doesn't want to drop his belt to Bret. And sure, that could be true, but we can't talk in absolute here. Michaels did sometimes get beaten with no nonsense. There was, of course, the most famous of these when Shawn lost his WWF to Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14, and he was part of that WrestleMania 20 triple threat. And sure, while it was Triple H who submitted, Michaels was a major part of ensuring Chris Benoit felt like he'd won a big match. There was no, wait a minute, they both lost. I think the issue is those two very significant times he did just vacate titles, the IC belt in 1993 and then that speech in 1997, well, it did sound like something a bit fishy was going on. He also did still lose. I mean, sometimes maybe he did that while he was kicking and screaming, but the facts mean we have to get all nuances correct. So there you go. Number 5, some of The Rock's catchphrases came from elsewhere. And there is nothing wrong with this before we do get started. Go and read about most wrestlers' inspirations. They all took something from somewhere. The most interesting one is if you smell what The Rock is cooking, because the first person to ever say that on WWF TV was Clarence Mason, the then on-screen lawyer for the Nation of Domination. It was often used as a way to hype up the young star, before Rocky went, you know what, I'll just take it as my own. Later SmackDown apparently also came from the brain of Harvey Whiffleman, and that is a guy that Dwayne Johnson still credits today for helping him, so boom, it's a collaborative process. It's important to note that without The Rock, none of these would work. He was that guy. Also, keep it in your brains that our second show in WWE is called that too. SmackDown, why Rocky used to say that is my show. Is that wrong? Basically was. Number 4, Austin 316 didn't make him an instant star. So I love this one. We've already talked about it. It wasn't a case of Steve Austin dropping the 316 promo at the King of the Ring 1996 and then all of a sudden being the most over guy ever. It was a slow burn, but you could see the tide changing. That's why WWE didn't do the turn properly until WrestleMania 13. Who was still kind of figuring all this out. It was cool because on Raw, the Austin 316 signs were there, but they were slight. Then every week they arrived more and more, and that's why it's so much better to speak about it in its true terms. It was way more impressive. Stone Cold just kept winning people over, then all of a sudden the man was on fire. But Austin was still in the mid-card for a while and even has that Owen Hart feud after this mic drop. And if you do want to see the takeoff point, well, it's when Bret Hart made him pass out to that sharpshooter. It does all count though. Austin essentially proved he was the most undeniable person ever. Imagine if the WWE ever kept him as a ringmaster. That's the stupidest thing ever. Number 3, the finger poke of doom didn't instantly kill WCW. And it's the same with this. Don't give too much credit to Nightmare TV. Only a WCW already started to sink the ship before January 1999. They were going to continue to do it afterwards too. It took a lot of time and people to screw this up. What really gets lost with this insanity is that it's also where the NWO Red and Black and NWO Black and White reunited. Fans had actually accepted Kevin Nash's group as the good guys, but rather than do Hogan versus Nash, which would have been somewhat fresh, we got Hulk poking Kevin, who threw himself to the floor. 1, 2, 3, new champion. It sucked. This was also meant to be the follow-up to Nash beating Goldberg streak 2. That pissed off the audience. Bill was meant to get his rematch on this Nitro when he got arrested on stalking charges. I'm not kidding. That's what WCW thought was good. So again, there's way more than just somebody's finger. It really was just another reason for WCW fans to slowly realize this wasn't for them anymore, so they just turned off. And look, loads didn't even turn on the WWF. They didn't care for that either. That's what World Championship Wrestling never truly understood. There were millions of people who wanted an alternative in sports entertainment. Instead, the NWO was brought back for the 68,679th time. Let's just keep saying it. That's so stupid. Number 2, CM Punk's pipe bomb wasn't a full shoot. I mean, bless the internet. Over the years, to try and make the CM Punk pipe bomb feel even more massive, some have just decided, yes, this was real. Punk took a mic and went off live on Raw. I think, come on, he would have been cut off instantly, not after 10 minutes. Which happened because it was part of the story. Of course, it was a moment in time and a reason so many people got back into wrestling, and June 2011 is a month that is spoken about a lot. The broad strokes to all of this speech, though, were most definitely approved, and while CM Punk had some creative freedom, yes, I don't want to be that guy, but the foundations were all there. Hence the camera zooming in when he waved to Colt Cabana was a calculated risk that paid off to make it feel like Punk walking out in the WWE was as legit as they come. It was still very groundbreaking and very ECW because nobody did this in WWE. Even mentioning New Japan or Ring of Honor made people stop in their tracks. It's different today, but WWE back then loved to act like they were the only game in town. Punk really did blur the lines. So it was powerful and it was super important, but it was not some sort of unscripted revolution. Actually, that would have been worse. Punk would have been fired, and not more than 3 words would have come out of his mouth, and we'd never have been able to talk about it. Number 1, Bret Hart's last match was not against Goldberg. The now famous kick at Starrcade 1999 was definitely the eventual reason Bret Hart had to retire. You can see this all over the internet. Goldberg does just whack the hitman right in the skull, and it's bad. Of course, we have to note that Bill has said sorry over and over again. It's a tough situation because Hart is still bitter about it. You can see it from both sides. Because Bret came from the old school brand of pro wrestler though, he just carried on fighting. This could be what really led to other issues, because even though he felt awful, Bret performed on many TV and non-TV shows for WCW, including a crazy hardcore bout with Terry Funk. That could not have helped. They really kicked each other's ass. It wasn't until mid-January when Hart felt like he needed to take a closer look at things because the symptoms weren't going away. I suppose Goldberg was the beginning of the end, but it wasn't the end. Whatever that means. Of course, the story over the years has just become that Bret Hart's career ended on this night. And yes, there's elements to that, but ultimately it's not true. There's far more to it, and it's important to get it out there. Know of any other wrestling facts or trivia that need a little bit of a tweak so everybody knows? Please make sure you drop us a comment below. If you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also click the video on the screen to get even more information about pro wrestling, but otherwise, my friends, I appreciate you. There's a heat wave in the UK right now, so you should see me. I am a mess. Take care. I'll see you soon.